Regular session tonight. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, be led tonight by our director, Mr. Don Odom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If the Rutherford Board would request that you join us, if you would please, in a moment of silence. Thank you. Didn't have anything moved off the agenda, so I need a motion to approve. Mr. Young, thank you. A second? I think that's Mr. Hodge or Mr. Estes, I believe. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Number 5 is approval of consent agenda. I need a motion to approve. Mr. Hodge, thank you. Mr. Blair, thank you for the second. If you're in favor, please say aye. Aye. And anybody opposed, and of course there is none.
We got a larger crowd tonight, so we did have a commission over this stuff.
Yeah, that's always good for me to say that. You're exactly right, Mr. Director. We have a work session almost always before we have a regular session, and a number of these items, although they will be read tonight, we have already discussed them in probably more detail than you might like, but we we have discussed them. And so we'll go to number 6, I believe, which is visitors. We have one, Mr. Jay Sanders. Am I pronouncing that right? Is it Sanders? Not Saunders, Sanders. From the Murfreesboro Electric Membership Corporation.
Yes, sir. It's Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation.
Exactly what I said. The Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation. Having a little trouble reading. I mean, it's just right here in plain English. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Jordan and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present to you this evening regarding Middle Tennessee Electric's educational programs. Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation is a member-owned, not-for-profit electric cooperative, and one of our 7 cooperative principles is educating our members, particularly the youth, about the nature and benefits of a cooperative. Middle Tennessee Electric has a couple of different educational presentations that we offer to schools at no cost. Some of those programs and presentations we offer include a basic electricity presentation, which covers both 4th and 6th grade state standards. We educate students on the electron movement theory, parallel and series circuits, conductors and insulators, non-renewable versus renewable energy, and the difference between static and current electricity. There are hands-on activities that takes place during the presentation with an electrostatic generator that Middle Tennessee Electric provides. Another program that we offer is a safety and electricity presentation, which covers common scenarios that occur regarding electricity. This presentation is geared towards educating the youth about the potential dangers and hazards with electricity. There is a safety demonstration table that is utilized during the presentation that Middle Tennessee Electric also provides. The TreeWise program is another presentation that we do. This presentation is designed to teach students the importance of trees, recycling, and educate them on how to properly plant a tree. The presentation is conducted by a Middle Tennessee Electric employee who is a certified arborist. Each student receives a free sapling to plant after the presentation has conducted. The Washington U Tour is another presentation that is currently taking place in schools throughout Rutherford County. This is a presentation where high school juniors are encouraged to write an original short story about rural electric cooperatives. This short story often fulfills AP requirements for juniors in high school. Winners are awarded an all-inclusive trip to the nation's capital with an opportunity to win a $1,000, a $2,000, a $3,000 scholarship, along with a $10,000 scholarship. Middle Tennessee Electric also offers scholarships for anyone who is continuing their education in a post-secondary school or a trade school. high school seniors currently enrolled in collegiate students, or even teachers who are continuing their education are eligible for this scholarship. Chairman Jordan and members of the board, I'd like to thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to present you with this information.
And thank you.
Yes, sir.
How's are you already from prior years? Are you getting into our schools quite a bit, or?
We are. With the Washington Youth Tour, for instance, Siegel High School, Riverdale High School, Stewart's Creek High School, these are just some examples of schools that participate in the program currently. We'd like to see, obviously, more schools get on board, but there are quite a few.
I'd like to put you in touch with Mr. Zago, who is our curriculum person, because we this year have added an elementary science specialist and a secondary science specialist, and the programs that you do fit some of our standards and sort of thing in science, so we can disseminate that for you. I think we just kind of need to some way, if y'all can kind of make some contact, you can send him the names of those programs. We'll get it to our science specialist, and then they can share it with the schools.
Okay, all right, that'll work.
We'd like to do that if you could.
Absolutely.
Could you sign me up? I think I'd like to participate.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7 on your agenda, board, is what we absolutely love to do, and that's honor somebody. And Mr. Director, if you would.
We have this evening, Mr. Football winner, Mr. Savon Davis, Riverdale High School. Mr. Nance, or whom's going to come and do the honors, your coach, or what? Who's going to, this evening? All of you, come on.
Wow.
Need any help carrying that? If you do, don't look at me, but.
Thank you, school board, for having this opportunity to recognize Savion and his award, and we're very proud of what he's done. We had a great year for Riverdale football, and he's one of those guys who was very consistent in everything that he did, and so we appreciate that. He's our first finalist, our first winner and finalist since '09. Since he was a finalist, and then '07 was the last winner we had. So it's been 10 years, and so we're excited for him and proud of him and what he's done. So I'll let Coach Kreitze kind of, if you want to say anything that you want to for any details.
Savion had an outstanding year, and what's been neat in this process is watching this young man grow, you know, from coming in as a middle school, immature, you know, a guy that we, you know, had to straighten him up a little bit, but he's really grown up and has done everything we asked him to do. This year, he exceeded our expectations way beyond, and we were really proud of him. And never once, you know, even throughout the season, he kept a level head and was a great leader. Never once talked about it. You would have never known he was having the success he was having throughout the year. He came in every week, practiced hard with a positive attitude and just a smile on his face. And that's what we're really going to miss, and the coaches are going to miss next year with him not being there. But, you know, we joke all the time. I was really proud. We played my brother this year, who's a head coach at Centennial, and he scored 5 touchdowns that game to get us a win. So I was hugging him a lot that game. But thank you for having us.
I don't know an exact number. I used to know when I was broadcasting and everything, but there's something like 60 AAA schools around the state, 60 to 70, and they've all got, you know, 80 to 100 players. I think you told me the other day you had 85 players, and that's 6,000 people. And there's your AAA winner right there. That says something to me.
Sir, it's a big honor for the state.
Savion, this is your opportunity to say something about Coach Kreisky.
All right. You know, coming in as a freshman, you know, all the coaching staff treated me well. But Coach K, you know, he came in as a big brother. You know, he led me in the right way. I did make some mistakes as I was growing up, but having me as a coach is amazing. I'm going to miss him. And, you know, he always told me to keep my head up high, work hard, and, you know, I can be someone special, and it's showing, and I'm just thankful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any way we can keep him from graduating? Number 8,
Number 8 is our 2017-2018 Fine Arts Section C textbook adoption committees. We talked about the other night, each 6 years, each subject has an adoption, and it's Fine Arts for this year. The names and qualifications of the following individuals are being submitted for appointment to the Fine Arts Section C Textbook Adoption Committee for the 2017-18 school year upon board approval. The list includes parents to serve on those committees. The first is our visual art adoption. It's Amy Gray, Siegel Middle School; Michael McCoffin, Siegel High School; Marion Smith, Rock Springs Elementary School; Christy Stegall, Rockvale Elementary School; Lacey Welker, Smyrna Middle School; Mr. Eric Snyder, MTSU Director of Todd Art Gallery; and Jennifer Jones, a Rutherford County Schools parent. In the next section is the theater adoption, and that's Miss Janie Melissa Broyles from Eagleville School, April Gunter from Siegel High School, Donna Sieg from Stewart's Creek High School, Kate Goodwin from Middle Tennessee State University, and Misty Beecham, a Rutherford County parent. Section C, again, this adoption is for music. Mr. Kevin Brenner, Central Magnet School; Matthew Clark, Oakland High School; Chris Click, Central Magnet School; Foster Hudson, Oakland Middle School; Hugo Sanchez, Cedar Grove Elementary School; Rachel Lipinski, Browns Chapel Elementary School; Jason Simmons, Barfield Elementary School; Michelle White, Laverne Lake Elementary School; Katie Wilson, Oakland High School; Amy Zerner, Blackman Middle School; Jennifer Vanetta Hall from Middle Tennessee State University; and Amy Massengill, a Rutherford County School parent. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve the appointment of the textbook selection committees as presented.
Move for adoption. Thank you, Mr. Holliday. A second?
Second.
Mr. Blair, thank you. And before this unanimous vote, we need to say publicly how indebted to these people and others for serving on these committees. It is a job that is full of ways to help the Rutherford County student and in selecting textbooks, and the board appreciates it very much. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? And of course, no one is. Number 9.
Number 9 is approval of the EPIC Experienced Professionals in the Classroom grant in partnership with the Tennessee Department of Education. The EPIC Experienced Professionals in the Classroom grant in partnership with TDOE, the Tennessee Department of Education. The EPIC grant is presented for approval to begin on January 15th, 2018 through September 30th, 2020. The EPIC grant is for $253,000 over 3 years from the Tennessee Department of Education in partnership with the United States Department of Education. Rutherford County Schools match will be $195,294.56 over 3 years. The grant was awarded for Rutherford County Schools to become our own education preparation provider, which will enable our occupational licensed teachers to receive their Tennessee teacher's license. The focus will be, but not limited to, our advanced manufacturing teachers, health science teachers, and information technology teachers. This program will be the first of its kind and will set the precedence for other districts to follow. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve the EPIC grant for $253,000 and our Rutherford County Schools match of $195,294.56 over 3 years, which will assist in us creating our own Tennessee licensed teachers in partnership with the Tennessee Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Education. If I might kind of explain it since we have a different audience tonight. Very often teachers who come in career and technical education that come from the private sector that are skilled in a particular skill, but teach in a career and technical education, the State Department of Education requires them to earn 18 additional hours in education courses in order to be eligible. And this is at their personal expense to come in. Some of them actually come in at a less salary than what they were earning in the private sector, which is kind of tough. So actually the state reached out to Rutherford County, and it came from a grant. I believe Lamar Alexander announced it from the U.S. Department of Education and said, would you look at a process whereby that within Rutherford County school system we could develop a model for getting these teachers licensed to meet that 18-hour requirement in a different way, more job embedded, more related to what they do, I think it's a good idea. So they extended to us this opportunity to do this. One piece of information was kind of left out the other night, which is very common when you look at grants, is like the local $195,000. That is part of the in-kind. So part of that money is actually our salaries of Ms. Pilgrim, Brian Lewis, other things that we provide in kind already. So we're not asking for $195,000 in new monies, but it's in kind expenditures that Rutherford County does spend to support the program. This is very common in grant applications. So that's, I think I read the motion, didn't I? So
Yes, sir.
That's, Ms. Pilgrim is here if you'd like an additional explanation from.
We had a thorough discussion last night over this, but you may have other questions, and Ms. Pilgrim is here, or the director, if there are other things you want to address about this.
Mr. Chairman, just in summary, the things that we talked about on Tuesday evening, it was concerning to me that we not compromise the rigor of accomplishing being an education professional. To be a teacher is a honored position. It is a skilled position. And there are skills that are needed in the classroom that are different from industry skills and familiarity. And that's really what this program is designed around. And we talked on Tuesday night about that typically it's a 3-year process, and there's college level courses and the relevancy of those courses versus the relevancy that we believe that we can accomplish inside of our system at a very, very high standard. Mr. Zago made the point to me after the meeting Tuesday evening that he believes our standard will be an even higher standard of rigor for classroom management and teaching skills for these people who are transitioning from industry into education. Furthermore, in approving this grant, it was a concern to me that we are not creating a position, and policy requires that at the time that we do have a job description and we have completed some of the questions that we had Tuesday night, that'll come back before the board. And so there's a multi-stage process here, but it is an honor for the Department of Education for the United States, as well as the Tennessee Department of Education, to recognize the skills for training that are here in Rutherford County and give us this grant.
Other comments or questions?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. A second? I think that was Mr. Hodge. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 11.
10.
No, I'm sorry, 10.
This is a classified staff amendment from a general purpose school budget. This amendment reallocates $184,832 in already budgeted pay and benefits for classified hourly staff based on the staff we actually have in place for the 2017-2018 school year. This amendment also adds $195,549 in BEP revenue, account 46610, and uses this revenue to fund pay and benefits for additional educational assistance for special education students whose IEPs require educational assistance. The total base pay in the amendment is $321,528 with benefits of $58,853 for a total of $380,381. This amendment increases the total budget classified hourly staff by 0.58%. Recommend approval. The motion is to amend $184,832 in already budgeted pay and benefits for classified staff to the different function object lines as presented, and to appropriate an additional $195,549 in BEP revenue account 46610, and use these BEP funds to fund pay and benefits for additional special education assistance as presented.
Move for approval.
Mr. Holliday, thank you. A second? Mr. Young, thank you. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Number 11, I'm sorry.
Ms. Lauren Bush is going to explain the process, what
Okay.
we typically do on appeals, our staff attorney.
Ms. Bush, welcome.
The board has two different disciplinary hearing authority appeals before it tonight. The first is an expulsion of a student from Smyrna High School. This student was expelled for 1 calendar year under Board Policy 6.313 for aggravated assault to students. Because this is not a zero tolerance offense, the board may affirm the decision of the DHA, overturn the decision of the DHA, modify the decision to a lesser penalty, or grant a hearing before the board.
Before we go any further, just for the audience's sake, when we have something like this, and I don't know how many we get a year, but the number, thank goodness, is few. But we have a complete breakdown from the staff that was in charge originally at whatever school it might be. This happens to be Smyrna, and we have a mountain of paperwork on the student in question, and we get it early and we read it, but usually between the work session, which was 2 days ago, and tonight. I don't know how long this decision is going to take. It may take 10 seconds, it may take an hour, but whatever it is, I just want you to know that this board has done what it's supposed to do, and so has our attorney, and to make sure that everything is legal and above board and obvious. Okay. You have questions for Ms. Bush, board, or anybody want to say anything at this point?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a motion to affirm the decision of the DHA.
Need a second to that, and then we can have whatever discussion you wish.
Second.
Mr. Estes, thank you for the second. Are there any comments, any questions on this at all? Okay, it's been motion and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Anybody opposed? Part B.
The second DHA appeal before the board tonight is a request to review the December 13, 2017 decision of the Disciplinary Hearing Authority to uphold the expulsion of a student from Siegel High School. The student was expelled for 1 calendar year under Board Policy 6.309 for possession and use of illegal drugs. This is a zero tolerance offense, therefore the options before the board are different. The zero tolerance statute by state statute is something we do have to expel students for 1 calendar year. That's a mandatory expulsion. Based on a review of the DHA's record, which as Chairman said was given to you earlier this week, the board may affirm the decision of the DHA, overturn the decision of the DHA, or grant a hearing before the board.
Mr. Chairman, move to overturn the decision of the DHA.
Okay, Mr. Estes has ruled to overturn it, and a second by Mr. Young. Are there comments or questions from Ms. Bush, who was there at both of these, right? Anything? All in favor of Mr. Estes' motion, please say aye. 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 Anybody opposed? Thank you, Ms. Bush.
Thank you.
Anything new on insurance?
They should be receiving, we talked about Tuesday night, the spousal health care eligibility affidavit. They should be starting to receive those in the mail today. That's just a part of the Rutherford County government's process to verify that spouses who are on our current insurance are appropriately listed. So they should start receiving that information in the mail with some information as well as contact a toll-free number to call in case there's any questions.
Any questions for Dr. Anthony? Number 13 is director's update. You have anything you're going to, you're not going to resign again, are you?
No, we got,
Okay, good.
school will be closed tomorrow since we're under the winter weather advisory.
If they're watching this, they already know.
I know.
Miss Pilgrim's very upset, by the way.
Didn't really think it wise to start a school day under a winter weather advisory, what they said would be coming in. So it is canceled for tomorrow, and we're off Monday for Martin Luther King Day, so it'll be Tuesday.
Did you share that with my boss as well?
Williamson County is closed also, too.
Still doesn't affect the construction company, but anyway.
Okay, just updates on a couple of things for you. People ask what's attendance, this, that sort of thing. Earlier this afternoon, I checked, it was 94.83%, which is pretty normal for this, and you'll run anywhere from 95 to 96 down to 93 something, so it's in kind of that normal range, a little bit lower in the winter, typically as you have illness. Am still tracking after our break, winter break, to see what our enrollment might be or changes. We're holding fairly steady all year this year, and this morning the growth over the end of the 5th month, the same period last year, 5th month in January 28th, but we're up about 1,060 students over the same period last year. And I'll give you all a breakdown probably at the next meeting, you kind of see again by school. So that's kind of an update on where we might be.
Any questions for the director? If not, normally we go to Ms. Moore, Tennessee, she's the TLN Legislative Liaison, but Ms. Moore has the flu. So we are regrettably not going to hear about the Tennessee State Legislature tonight.
And yet, Mr. Blair and I appreciate her good judgment.
She said that she hoped she was not contagious on Tuesday night.
I hope so as well.
Okay. Anything, Mr. Holliday, from the federal that you didn't cover the other night?
Check the tape. We'll let it go as reported on Tuesday night, but I regret that the Leadership Rutherford squad was not here on Tuesday night because it was really good.
Okay. Anything else on that from anyone? Okay, let's go to number 16. The search for the 2018 Director of School Search. They've done one thing here, I think, and you have the material that the Tennessee School Board Association sent. And I guess the one thing that we really need to decide tonight, and that is, do we want the Tennessee School Board Association to do this? And if the answer is yes, then I have one short addendum, and if we don't, then we're going to go another path. So whatever discussion you might want to make on that, now is a great time. Mr. Blair, I'm sorry, not Mr. Blair, Mr. Hodge.
I read through all this information. I participated last time Mr. Oldham, the DSB, did that search also. I would recommend to the board that we use their services again. We've got 2 plans there, the plan 1, plan 2. Have the board as whenever it's possible for me again to go over timetables and stuff like that. But I'd recommend going with plan 1 versus the plan 2. Plan 2 is a little bit more detailed, but the detail you get out of it, in my opinion, doesn't justify additional money. So,
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry.
I was going to concur with Mr. Hodge. I would also like to see TSBA conduct the search for us. I was also involved in the search for Mr. Odom, although we didn't have to look very far, but I think they will do a very good job, and I think they're cost effective. What I would like to see, if it's okay with this board, is that because this is such an important decision, that we schedule an additional meeting just for this process, and have Mr. Bennett or someone from TSBA come and conduct the meeting where we can ask questions and the board can decide, rather than a particular program that maybe it can be customized to our desires as a board at that time. And I think a special call would be appropriate to get this accomplished.
Okay, before we do that, I think he probably needs to put that in the form of a motion. I'm talking about Mr. Hodge. Now, wouldn't you think that we're going to go with Tennessee School Board Association? Is that a motion, Mr. Hodge? Is that all right? Okay, I need a second to that motion.
No, second that.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Is there any further discussion on that?
Yes, sir, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to point out to the community and anyone who may not be aware of the available options, and the chairman as well as other board members are aware, there are private entities that could serve in this consultant role, and help us with a search for a board superintendent. The board could take it on themselves to do all of the work, and we have found in the past, and I certainly support the motion here, that TSBA is a good point in the middle. It is a value-conscious decision for the stewardship of budget dollars, and their consultation gives us just enough detachment for the process to work efficiently, and yet familiarity of our special circumstances as a leader of education here in the state of Tennessee. I think it is the right plan, and it's not something that we're taking just because it's most familiar and what we've done in the past, but truly something that I'm supporting because I believe it is the best choice, and considering others as well.
Any other comments in favor or against this idea? If not, then let's vote. All in favor of Mr. Hodges' motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any opposition to that? Okay, now,
You want me to put mine in the motion?
well, stand by. You have the material that Mr. Bennett sent you, which I sent me, actually, and I gave all a copy of their past superintendent searches and how they've handled it. Clearly, Mr. Bennett is going to have some questions, and we need to discuss. I think Mr. Blair's right. I think we probably need to discuss that and only that at a special call meeting. And I would like Mr. Blair maybe to have an idea on a date, Mr. Blair, when Mr. Bennett might be available, where we could ask.
I think the 22nd is available for us, Ms. Michaels, and for Mr. Bennett.
Okay, so, okay, I guess that settles that then. I don't know that we need that in the motion, but go ahead and do it anyway, and then.
Okay, I do make a motion that we have a special call for the, excuse me, to interview the TSBA for our director. So
Okay, and then no need to give a specific date, because I may have to change it. So we'll go with the 22nd. If that doesn't work, we'll pick another one. I need a second to that motion. Who was that? Mr. Estes. Okay, thank you. All in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Is there other discussion on the superintendent search at this time? It's probably premature, by the way, if you want to say anything else, but you're certainly welcome to do so. We do have freedom of speech, the last time I checked.
I would just add, again, the working with the TSBA in assisting us in this in no way abdicates any of the role, and this special call meeting is going to be the first step in this board directing this, but TSBA helping us to facilitate it. So we're not handing this over to somebody else as much as we are employing a facilitator that will work at this board's direction. So the board is still very much in control of this process, and I like to point that out.
And I think that's a good thing to point out. The next director of schools will be selected by this Board of Education, not by the Tennessee School Board Association. We will give them some ideas, you all will, as to how far we want to, and how long we want to advertise, and where we want to advertise, and a number of other things. And they will do some advertising on our behalf, and et cetera, et cetera. But the final decision will be ours. Absolutely. The public should expect that, and that's the way it should be. If there's anything else on number 16. Okay, general discussion by board members. Two things, and the staff, y'all going to like this. Trust me. The meeting on the 23rd, 4 o'clock. Yay, you can go home for dinner. That is Health and Ed night?
Yeah, it was I did contact Mr. Jordan about this because at 5:30 p.m. that evening, Health and Ed meets. And we did not get to present your adopted 5-year building plan in December because it did not meet. Maybe rather than wait another month, middle of February, we need to move on it. So I did ask him, might want to consider that we have our meeting so that those of us, Mr. Clardy, myself, Mr. Sandvig, some of you may want to attend also, but go up and present your 5-year building plan to the Health and Ed Committee. So that's the reason for the request.
Okay. Ms. Michaels is going to check on the 22nd with Mr. Bennett. And also, Ms. Michaels, everybody got this? Yes. The calendar? Exactly. Okay. Beg pardon? The board did. Yeah, okay. And you might go down at the bottom there and just look at that. I think this is a tough job to decide and look far ahead at how many meetings we need to have and so forth, and spread them out over a couple of months, or in this case, all the way until June 21st, as a matter of fact, on here, which is longer than usual. But we meet the 23rd, we meet the 25th, and then we go into February here. And I just want to remind the board, and remind myself at the same time, that when this is done, it's not necessarily written in stone. We can change the date if we have to change the date. But when we do that, we really put a good deal of pressure on Ms. Michaels. And if we have people like Mr. Davis who came in tonight, and if we could have had to reschedule him, what if we'd had that whole choir in here on a night and then we changed the date? So if you would, look at the dates, I'll do the same on my calendar at home, and check and see if we have any particular conflicts. I don't see any on here. I know the San Antonio National Convention is another week that's not represented here, and other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape. But and usually you schedule around the graduations, don't you? You make sure we do that. In other words, Ms. Michaels knows what she's doing. But I'm just asking you to check and see. And also, our staff here stays. I mean, they get off supposedly at some point. 4:30 is supposed to be, and here they are, and it's 4:20 to 6. So, let's let them know when the meetings actually are, and try not to cancel anything if we can help it. Okay, surely I've talked enough. Anything else from anybody on general discussion? Board?
I wanted to acknowledge the career and the contribution that has been made in my backyard in the Laverne area by Mr. Gilbert Aldrich. Earlier this week, I went to his retirement reception, and it was a very nice affair. The number of students that have been impacted by his commitment to our school system, they all turned out with smiles on their face. And of course, being a choir director, they sang all their greatest hits, and it was a really fun evening. And I will miss Gil's smile and presence and all the things that he contributed. And as I say that, I'm again reminded of just the incredible acknowledgement that we owe to Mr. Odom and his announcement this past Tuesday, and 50 years of service. It cannot be said enough over the next several months what an incredible contribution you have made to this system.
Board, any other comments on anything? Blue Raiders tip off at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm sure my granddaughter wants me to take her to dinner. And she always wants me to take her to dinner. Is there anything else? We're adjourned.